The only con to setting up an LLC is the expense that comes with it. Otherwise, everything else is a positive, and it's an absolute must. Whether you're a business owner, a doctor, everyone should have one. It's literally like putting a brick wall between your business life and your personal life.
So this is the reason why privacy matters. Welcome to another episode of Free at Last. I'm your host, James Catledge, and today we've got a great episode scheduled. I've got a good friend of mine who's going to help us set up some of the tools necessary to become financially independent. It begins, of course, with the idea, but then you got to formalize the idea like we've discussed and actually put a business together. Well, today's the business expert, Brent Carlson from Corporate Capital. Welcome.
Thanks, James. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, glad you're here. We know each other well. We're good buddies. And you've helped thousands and thousands of people turn an idea into a formal structure called LLC or corporation.
That's correct. Yes, I've been doing it for 20 years now, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
And this is what you do. I mean, this is an interesting insight into the folks who are masters at setting up these companies. Would you say most people coming to you are entrepreneurs?
Yes, entrepreneurs with ideas, a lot of times business owners that are already in business that need their books or their structure looked at, but definitely entrepreneur mindset, all entrepreneurs.
Right. So sometimes they may begin as an employee when you meet them, but the idea is to take their dream or their idea into a business.
It's funny you say that because a lot of people start off as a W-2, so they're trying to start their business. So they're doing the W-2 during the week, putting in the hours on the weekend, trying to build up their clientele or their revenue so they can get away from that W-2 and have that financial freedom, run their own business.
Right. Why do we hear so much about LLCs? Teach me a little bit about why an LLC is such a superior structure if I'm trying to take my idea and turn it into a business.
Well, LLC stands for Limited Liability Company, and that will give you separation from the idea or the business that you're looking to run. So if you set up a business and something happens to go wrong, and if you're listening out there for entrepreneurs that are sole proprietorships, they don't realize that they have all that liability. And if anything happens in their business or with their rental property, they can be sued personally. So by having an LLC at the end of your name, you are separating yourself. It's literally like putting a brick wall between your business life and your personal life. And they are not able to sue, especially in Nevada, Wyoming, there's a couple states where if the business gets sued, the statutes clearly indicate that they cannot sue the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the investors directly.
So it's very protective.
Very protective.
So when you say limited liability, it literally is limiting the liability.
Yes.
The exposure.
Yes. The only thing they can go after truly is the asset that is inside of the business. They cannot go after the owner, which in other states, like Utah, for example, very nice state, nice people. I graduated from BYU. If you commingle your funds, that's one way that you can pierce the corporate veil in the state of Utah. And so these other states allow this exposure, and states like Nevada, with that LLC at the end of the name, gives you ultimate protection, gives you that separation.
What's it cost me to set up an LLC? If I've got an idea, I really think it should be a business, I'm going to come to you, I'm going to set up my LLC. What's this cost me?
It's roughly about $1,000, depending on what state you're looking at.
And what happens? I'm sure there's a binder with important documents in it. What else is going on when you help me set up an LLC? What else is happening?
So a couple of things. The state fees alone in here in Nevada, for example, like $438.75.
So Nevada needs $438.50 to set up the LLC.
Yeah, so part of our fee would make sure that that is covered so we can file the list of officers on a public record, make sure we file the articles. And then we also put together, you mentioned the corporate record book. I've done several for you over the years. That corporate record book has the operating agreement, it has the minutes. If there's a partnership that a client is looking to set up, we will help with the partnership agreement, the EIN from the IRS, and we even go as far to help them open up the bank account because so many people, this is new, they have an idea, They've wanted to do this,
Yeah.
but they think there's so many steps that are, too many steps involved, I should say, and we literally help with all those steps.
That's interesting because I'm thinking about all the entrepreneurs that work at Real Financial, for instance. They're very good at what they do, right? They're helping clients build and create wealth in their families. They're helping them save money and prepare for retirement. But I'm pretty sure most are unfamiliar with all the details of an LLC and how to set it up and even why to set it up. Just as we unpack this just a little bit more for them, what's the operating agreement doing inside my LLC and why do I need one? What's happening with that?
So basically, you're just, again, going back to statutes as far as the LLC, operating agreement just indicates that it's going to be ran by managers. You can raise capital. You are indemnified as far as for the protection of the state. So it just has all the language from the state of Nevada to make sure that you can operate.
Now, I can open a bank account.
Yeah, open a bank account.
Right.
And this is where your employees or
the financial advisors,
the financial
independent
advisors,
contractors.
Independent contractors, this is where they can really benefit because with the LLC, I talked about the asset protection and separating their liability. That is just the beginning. With your LLC, you can have it taxed however you want. So if we're making good money, we don't want to leave that as a single member or an independent contractor because now we're paying 15.3% on nearly every dollar we're making.
Okay, let's discuss that.
Absolutely.
That's a complicated subject, but it's important.
It's important.
Very important.
Yes.
So basically, let's say I'm taxed at the 35% tax bracket based on my income. You're telling me there's another 15% that gets stacked on there if I'm self-employed.
Correct.
In addition to my 35.
For your Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, yes, sir.
So basically, we're talking about $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 additional taxation above my bracket because I'm self-employed.
Correct.
And you're telling me that by setting up a structure like an LLC, I'm able to have that structure manage the business where this income's derived and avoid this 15% upcharge?
That is correct. You'll save, so every 100,000 of profit that you guys are making out there, you'll literally save 15,300.
So
I am taxed as an S corp because of that reason.
That's the number. Every 100,000, I'm saving 15,000.
Yes.
So if I'm making $1 million,
$153,000.
$153,000 being saved just by setting up the right structure.
Correct.
Okay, it's significant.
It's a lot of money.
So we're talking about $1,000 to set this up.
Yeah.
And I can literally save $153,000 on $1 million income.
Correct.
Okay, that's a pretty obvious decision.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why would I do one I hear a lot about Nevada. Now, we live in Nevada. The studio's in Nevada. The headquarters of Real Financial is in Nevada. But why is a Nevada LLC superior to these other states?
Yeah. So Nevada, first off, we were started back in the 50s, 60s, and our state has always had a lot of protection and privacy.
Okay.
So Nevada offers a very unique option for privacy. Your name doesn't even have to be on public record with your LLC if you choose. But Nevada also has no state or corporate tax. So if the independent contractors live in Florida or Massachusetts, they can have a Nevada LLC. They're not going to pay any tax or anything to the state. Everything will still flow to them to their home state. So by setting it up in Nevada, they are literally just getting the asset protection and guaranteeing as they build this business or if they protect this rental property, if something ever happens, someone blames them, ever tries to sue them, they cannot, Nevada law does not allow the corporate veil to be pierced. It's happened once since 1988 because of fraud. And that it's very difficult, impossible to pierce the veil because they don't allow the business and the individual to be sued. And it's that black and white.
Okay, so Nevada is unique in this way.
Yes.
Almost more like a libertarian view in how business owners are dealt with. Yeah, it's protective. The state is busy protecting maybe not the public as much as it is the LLC and the entity. That structure is sacred in the state of Nevada.
Correct, and they feel if the business does something wrong, I have insurance. I have my building that's separated by an LLC and my main corporation. But if something goes wrong, I don't want my assets to be mingled. Number one, and I don't want to be sued personally. So Nevada has been the best state for many years now.
We're gonna get to there.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
stay on Nevada because I want to really explore Nevada for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I do live in Florida, and I set up my Nevada LLC. I can't drag my earnings, just because I set up the LLC, I can't drag my earnings right back to a Florida bank account. Shouldn't it be set up in the name of the LLC, my bank account? Shouldn't these be tied together?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And now the commissions or any money that's paid, consulting, contracting, will be paid to your entity.
Okay. So the name on the checks is payable to the LLC.
Correct.
And then I'm depositing that in the LLC's bank account that I created when I set up the LLC.
Correct.
Got it. So I can live in Alaska.
Yeah.
And have it all done that way. It doesn't really matter. So where the money's spent is not as important as where it's earned.
That's correct. And then they can just take a draw from that, or that's when we look at it to see, does it make sense to take a salary or just spend the money that's inside of the LLC?
Got it. And now we know that on a calendar year, not a fiscal year, the way companies set up their calendar, but on a calendar year, the IRS is very interested in what's in my LLC's bank account on December 31st.
Correct.
Talk to me about that for a second and how I need to be paying attention.
Okay. Especially the last couple months of the year, this is a great time for us to meet.
Yeah.
A lot of our clients that are being referred to us,
Yep.
we are enrolling them now. And the reason we're doing that is we can't do anything when it's February 1st, 2026.
Right.
When the clock strikes midnight on December 31st, it's done. The only
You're locked in.
You're locked in. The only thing you can do if you have property is a cost segregation, which I'm not going to get into. But if you are going to try to minimize that bank account and do different things, like if you have kids, a lot of the audience probably has young kids.
Yeah.
I've been paying my kids for years.
Salaries.
Salaries. Yeah. And I say that openly because it's a tax advantage.
Certainly.
But you got to
it's
do
in the tax law.
We got to do it before the end of the year. And it's up to $15,750 per child. Yes. There's other strategies we could look at that we could talk about specifically, or usually we go over each person's situation because it's not a cookie cutter approach.
Sure.
But there's some strategies that must be implemented before December 31st.
Yeah.
Not to get too personal, but I've been able to implement about $78,000 worth of strategies where that money has gone back into my pocket, dollar for dollar, and I don't have to claim it as income.
Beautiful. And I know one of the big things it's kind of a general category, but most people start thinking about taxes around April. And they think about gathering their receipts and running it down to the accountant and what can you do for me? Can you strategize a way to help me pay less? And well, it was 3 months ago where all that needed to occur.
Might as well go to H&R Block at that point.
Yeah, right. Or do it yourself.
Correct.
But it's December 31st is the time to take the action. It's not April 14th at midnight. That's when the forms need to be sent to the IRS. It's not when you can do the strategy.
Yeah, it's before that. As a matter of fact, I would say what we look at as a company is we'll take people all the way up until about December 10th to still incorporate those strategies because that is a big part of what we do and the benefit and the value to our clients.
Right.
So if we can't offer that, then we won't do it past December 10th because we want to have time, like the Augusta rules is an example.
Sure.
Where you can pay yourself 14 times a year, but you have to have those pay periods. I don't care if they're 14 days in a row, but I don't want them all on December 29th. So there's some things we just want to make sure we have time to implement.
Right. The IRS is structured. It's such a complicated thing, but they've structured some real benefits if they're working with a professional team to be able to help them.
Correct.
One of the things I've benefited greatly from over the years is making sure that all my capital expenditures, the things I know I need to buy, maybe it's a new vehicle, a heavy vehicle. Maybe it's a vehicle,
pounds.
Right? Maybe it's a vehicle that weighs 6,000 pounds or more.
Right.
We know the IRS will let me completely deduct that from my income. Literally, so my adjusted gross income is now $70,000 less if I buy a vehicle in the calendar year that's over 6,000 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was designed for farm equipment. But it applies to a Land Rover. It applies to a heavy SUV, any brand you want.
I won't share the secret, but I'm going to tell you right now, I've had a couple clients the last couple months that had bought a Porsche in New York for $140,000.
Yep.
I set him up an LLC, specifically in a state.
Yeah, I know the state.
Yeah, and saved him about $19,000 on sales tax in New York because he was able to avoid it. And
and you can have the car delivered to that state.
Absolutely,
Yeah, it's very. You need to be working with a professional. If you're trying to become financially independent, you're not going to come up with all this strategy on your own. You've got to work with pros who deal with all these scenarios on a daily basis. And so that's another great reason we wanted to have Brent in today to talk about some of these strategies. Now let's shift to Wyoming. Wyoming's done something unique in their statutes that took it beyond Nevada. Nevada's got the privacy, the anonymity. It's got the protection for the owner. The statute's real clear. You can't commingle and mix and harm the owner of the business. You've got to deal right with the business. Well, Wyoming stepped it up. Wyoming went another level. Talk to us about Wyoming.
Yeah, so Wyoming basically took Nevada statutes and voted them in 2008-9. It really started. So we started following that and just made sure the case law and everything looked good before we started setting up just as many Wyoming
LLCs
as Nevada. But Wyoming, they don't require the list of officers to be on public record. So for those of you that like the privacy, instead of listing yourself as the manager of your own business or the managing member, Wyoming doesn't put any of that information on public record. And then my company will be listed as the organizer. So we keep the client private. So if someone looks up, with Google these days, you could find anything, but they won't be able to see that you're associated with that company because Wyoming offers that privacy for free. Nevada, it's a different story.
Yeah, it's a public record in Nevada.
Correct.
Yeah, you can go to the Secretary of State website and see who's the officer of various LLCs, who the members are, and this kind of thing.
Yeah, but never Wyoming.
That's right, not Wyoming.
Awesome.
Which is interesting. They copied the statute exactly, except they left that part out. Why do you think that matters so much to an LLC owner? Talk to us about the psychology there, the privacy piece. Why is it I wouldn't want someone to know that I'm the manager of an LLC or the member? Why is that important? Remember, I'm just a novice with a new idea, and I'm trying to formalize it. I don't know all this stuff about privacy and why it matters. Why does it matter?
Well, I mean, just this day and age, like I said, with Google and just being able to type in any information, if you have any, ex-partners or spouses or anything out there that you could be concerned about, it just makes things more difficult if things that do ever hit the fan. It has to be a real deal situation for them to spend the money or an attorney to take it on contingency because of the protection of Wyoming, and they know it's going to be difficult to find out some of this information. They're going to have to possibly subpoena the RA, figure out who owns the business. So the privacy just makes it a lot harder. But again, I mean,
harder to chat. Let's get into it.
Yeah,
I'm in a car crash, and it's my fault. All right, the little insurance I've got it isn't enough to really handle the lawsuit I'm involved in, right? It's bad. And the lawyer on the other side suing me for maybe a few $1 million bucks. And I'm gonna have 50 grand in my bank account. So this is the reason why privacy matters. Because that LLC, the lawyer who's suing me for millions of dollars doesn't even know I'm affiliated with these LLCs.
Yeah, so they got to figure that out, pay the money for that, and then once they figure out that it's either Nevada or Wyoming, now they can go after the vehicle if it's in the business or whatever assets, but they cannot sue James Catledge or me personally. They cannot go after that $2 million they want.
So this is to avoid litigation risk. This is litigation privacy.
Correct.
And it's really what it is. Is there another scenario that we're worried about?
It's the tax. It's giving you the option and flexibility to save as much money on taxes, and it's separating yourself from the business
from a litigation standpoint.
From litigation, and you can never be sued personally. It's very black and white. You leave it in your own personal name, you're going to pay more money in taxes if you stay as an independent contractor.
Absorb the risk.
And we live in a very sue happy where 2/3 of the world's lawyers live here in Nevada. And so I tell people it's the best peace of mind, and it's not very expensive to set it up, to maintain it each year. And that peace of mind of knowing, okay, now I've positioned myself the best way for my taxes. I know I'm going to pay the least amount. I know that I have the separation from this business that I'm representing and running, or this asset that possibly has liability. And that's it. And that's why people need to do it.
That's right.
At Harvard, they teach before you make your first dollar, get incorporated, because it's very important to have that in place before you sign a lease or before you start making more money or so much where at the end of the year you could have saved 30, 40 grand, you know, if it was looked at sooner than later.
That's right.
Yeah.
I also understand if I've got an LLC, I've got deductions that are not available to me if I don't have one. What are some of those?
So some of the tax planning strategies that I mentioned, you want to be able to do some of those. A lot of the deductions for sole proprietorships and LLCs could be very similar, but some of those advanced tax planning strategies that I mentioned, you are not able to do as a sole proprietorship. So you must have a structure in place.
Got it.
And then there's some other things you can do. And my partners are like the CPAs, enrolled agents at our company.
Yeah.
But there's other things. There's new laws that have been put in place for like medical that you can't do as an individual. They've bumped that up. Again, I don't know the exact dollar amount, but these are some of the medical deductions. And what's great about my firm is my partners, they'll stay in tune. So we do the continuing education courses each year to make sure that we're up to speed with those deductions so we can implement those for our clients.
So you have a whole tax team in addition to the incorporation setup?
Yeah, bookkeepers, accountants, and CPAs and enrolled agents.
Oh, that's fantastic. So really, if I'm starting a business, it's kind of a one-stop shop. And you're the president of the company. So you probably don't want all the phone calls, but if we put the business phone number and the business email in the description of this podcast, they can find their way to you. And you'll work with our agents and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you'll work with them.
As we talked about when we first met, I'm very impressed, and we've the business we've done together has meant a lot to me. As I told you, anyone that calls, I actually have two assistants at the office, Taylor and Jocelyn. Yeah. And whatever number email that you provide to them, just give us a call and I will make sure that they get on my calendar and that I personally do the consultation. And I don't, as I mentioned to you, we don't charge for a consultation. It's probably like an agent or an independent contractor just going through the list of questions. I'll do the same thing, just kind of go through their situation, see if it makes sense to set up the LLC. And if it does, we send them the paperwork and get it done typically the same day. And if it doesn't make sense, then maybe we cross that path at some point in our career.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking too. There's probably a lot of folks listening today who have an LLC, but do not know all the stuff you've shared with us today. It may have been set up in a different state, right? It may have been set up in one of those states that's not private and maybe not even tax advantaged, right? So I'm thinking that you may get some phone calls, and I think we should be ready for this, for folks who think they did the right thing. They set up the LLC. They engaged at the level they knew to engage, but it needs to be evaluated. Their operating agreement's got to be right. I mean, I know how important that is. It's got all the provisions necessary to actually conduct the right kind of business. And that's where you help me.
If I may, without that, and if your corporation or LLC gets sued, then it's not that they're piercing the corporate veil, it's you were an alter ego, you never set up your business properly. So we make sure it's set up properly from the beginning. And that's why we charge that little buffer above the state fee, is to make sure that the record book, the EIN, the bank account, everything is done properly.
Yeah, it's got to be right. I mean, I know this is an area, for whatever reason, entrepreneurs seem to neglect. They think of the idea. They think of putting the sales together. They think of putting the business together. They probably get the bank account open to put money in it. But they don't think about this structure stuff. I have found myself in my own journey through life that folks who are financially independent, the rare few that actually achieve it, are organized at this level early. They understand that I'm building something significant, and I need to be structurally sound before the building begins to be built.
Correct.
Because it's impossible, if you've got floor 1 and 2 of your empire built, to go back and say, uh-oh,
where's the foundation?
we got to redo the structure here. I think the IRS may even be interested in the weakness of the structure. Yeah, okay, that's good. Anything else from an advice standpoint you've got for us that you deal with every day that seems to be a cautionary thing? I mean, I know you must see all sorts of nightmares. You're thinking, oh my God, had you just visited with us sooner, we could have prevented this.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple stories. Like I have a gentleman in Louisiana. He had a construction business. He had a ladder fall off the back of his truck. He was a sole proprietorship, and he lost everything.
Just a ladder fell off the truck.
It exceeded the value of his insurance policy. He didn't have, I mean, lives were lost. He didn't have the structure in place, so he was exposed. And this is why you do not want to stay a sole proprietorship. Even if you're giving people advice on financial advice, or if you're mowing lawns, it just doesn't make sense to represent yourself when you're just putting yourself in the worst position with the IRS, and you're also given all the exposure. There's pros and cons to everything. The only con to setting up an LLC is the expense that comes with it. That's it. Otherwise, everything else is a positive, and it's an absolute must, whether you're a business owner, a doctor, a lawyer, an independent contractor, insurance salesman. Everyone should have one.
Yeah, I'm thinking of folks landscaping.
Yeah.
You know, this is probably the guy with the ladder, right?
Yeah.
Coming off the truck. Anybody, plumbing, electricians, mobile detail companies, they're dealing with high-end cars, all these stuff. The risks are enormous. And most of these guys, you're making the check out to them, you're Venmoing them the money.
Yep.
It's not through an LLC. It's just, for whatever reason, this is an oversight for entrepreneurs.
And it's not a matter of if, it's when, you know, because in the United States, we have, I think it's 66% of the world's attorneys live here in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how exciting is that?
We get a lawsuit. We get a lawsuit filed every 30 seconds. So you're just giving yourself that peace of mind of knowing that your business, these ideas that you have, this business that you currently have is set up properly. You brought up something about people that might be set up in other states. Obviously, we don't want to get too far into it, but there's options for them as far as possibly converting from that state that they're currently in.
Redomicile.
Yeah, so converting from Louisiana to Wyoming or Nevada, or possibly just setting up another piece to own what they currently have. So if their business does ever get sued, they know that they can never be sued individually. And I would love to talk to people about that.
Okay, great idea. All right, so let's get to the bottom of it. You're obviously a Yankees fan.
Yeah,
okay.
Big time. Big time.
So talk to us about the Dodgers here.
Yeah, so a big Dodger fan. My dad, my grandpa, I remember growing up listening to the Vin Scully radio broadcasts with him. So Vin Scully was the best. My parents were from Westminster High School in California, so grew up a huge Dodger fan. My first dog ever was named Dodger.
Okay.
My last dog, which is my sixth now, is his name's Mookie, because one of our favorite players on the Dodgers is Mookie Betts.
Well, it's your time of year.
It's playoff time.
It's your time of year.
Game 3 tonight, baby.
Yeah. How are they looking?
Looking good. We're up 2-0, and hopefully there's no Phillies fans out there. If there are,
there probably are.
No hard feelings. We still have a good conversation.
All right.
But we're up 2-0. We're doing okay.
I appreciate you wearing this today because it tells us who you are, and I know you love the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Brent, for being here. Appreciate your time today. And if you're out there and you know these are needs you have, I hope you'll reach out to Brent. Let him help you at Corporate Capital. Thank you.
I appreciate it, James. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.